Looking back, I probably should have seen it coming. When the Galactic Council appointed me as Earth's first ambassador, they clearly had no idea what they were getting into. Then again, neither did I. My name is Dave Thompson, and I'm the poor soul who had to explain to a room full of distinguished alien diplomats why humans thought it was perfectly reasonable to solve a space station construction problem with paintball guns. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It all started 3 standard galactic months ago, during what was supposed to be a routine council meeting. Picture, if you will, the most bureaucratic gathering you've ever seen, multiply it by 10, add tentacles, and you're getting close. The main chamber of the Galactic Council looks like someone took the UN General Assembly, launched it into space, and let a geometric architecture enthusiast go absolutely wild with crystals. The Regellians had sponsored Earth's application for membership, mostly because they found our obsession with filling out forms in triplicate charmingly primitive. These are beings who have a 15-step procedure for deciding what to have for lunch, so you can imagine their delight when they discovered human bureaucracy. High Commissioner Trell Vix, a being who resembled a cross between a praying mantis and a filing cabinet, was presiding over the session. We are gathered here today. They announced in that particular tone universal to all government officials to discuss the application of planet Earth for provisional membership in the Galactic Council. I sat there in my specially designed human chair. Everything else in the chamber was built for species with very different anatomical requirements, trying to look as diplomatic as possible. This was challenging, considering I'd just watched what I'm pretty sure was a sentient cloud get into an argument with a crystalline entity about proper meeting minutes format. Ambassador Thompson Trellvix continued, their antenna twitching in what I'd learned was either deep thought or mild indigestion. Your species has shown remarkable progress in achieving faster than light travel, even if your methods are unconventional. Ah yes, the infamous coffee-powered quantum drive incident. Apparently no other species had ever thought to combine caffeine molecules with quantum mechanics. The Regellian scientists are still trying to figure out how it works, especially since our engineer's only explanation was don't question it. Just keep the coffee maker running. However, and here came the catch I'd been waiting for. The Council has concerns about Earth's readiness for full integration into galactic society. We propose an assessment period. The chamber erupted in murmurs, which in a room full of various alien species sounds like a combination of whale song, static electricity, and someone trying to tune a radio made of jellyfish. Assessment period, I asked, already feeling a headache coming on. What exactly does that entail? A holographic display materialized in the center of the chamber, showing a list of tasks that seemed to scroll on forever. Trellvix's mandibles clicked in what passed for a reassuring smile. Oh, nothing too complicated. Just a few simple tasks to prove humanity's capability to function within galactic society. We'll assign you a supervisor, of course. That's when they introduced Isolate, and my day went from potentially problematic to definitely disastrous. Imagine the most uptight bureaucrat you've ever met. Give them 4 arms for maximum efficiency in paperwork handling, and skin that changes color based on their stress level. Currently, they were a pleasant shade of blue-green, but I had a feeling that wouldn't last long. Greetings, Ambassador Thompson Sci-Fi said, their voice matching their appearance perfectly precise, measured, and about as flexible as a titanium ruler. I look forward to documenting your species' performance during these trials. I should have run right then. Should have made up some excuse about Earth needing me for an urgent coffee shortage or something. But no, I just had to be professional about it. We're happy to comply with any reasonable assessment, I said, trying to sound confident. After all, what's the worst that could happen? The entire chamber went silent. Even the sentient cloud stopped arguing about the minutes. Trellvix's antenna went completely straight, and Xyolate's skin shifted to a slightly paler shade. Oh dear, said Trellvix, mandibles clicking rapidly. They really don't know, do they? And that's how I accidentally committed the first of many diplomatic faux pas by invoking what I would later learn was considered the ultimate jinx in galactic society. Apparently, when humans say what's the worst that could happen, the universe takes it as a personal challenge. I was about to find out exactly how creative that challenge could get. The first thing I did after that fateful meeting was call Earth to assemble my team. Now, the Council probably expected me to select a group of our finest diplomats, scientists, and military leaders. Instead, I chose what I like to call a more specialized crew. Let me get this straight, Isolate said, their skin shifting to a concerned lavender as they reviewed my team roster. Your chosen experts are Dr. Marina Volkov, a chaos theorist who specializes in, and I quote, predicting the unpredictable. Correct, I said, watching as Marina juggled 3 different probability calculators while explaining her latest theory about butterfly effects in zero gravity. Theodore the amazing Theo Martinez, a retired circus performer who now teaches creative problem-solving at MIT. Theo was currently doing a handstand on his chair, claiming it helped him think better. He gave Xyl-8 a cheerful wave without losing his balance. And Dr. James Wilson, a quantum physicist who joined the project because, according to his application, he was bored with regular physics. James didn't even look up from his tablet, where he was apparently calculating the probability of teaching quarks to dance. Regular physics is so last millennium, he muttered. Xyl-8's skin cycled through several shades of purple before settling on a distressed mauve. Ambassador Thompson, the Council's tasks are meant to be approached with proper procedure and decorum. These individuals seem perfectly qualified, I interrupted smoothly. After all, you want to see how humans handle unusual situations, right? Well, yes, but... And who better to handle the unexpected than experts in chaos, creativity, and quantum improbability? Marina looked up from her calculations long enough to add, according to my latest models, there's a 73.6% chance that traditional approaches will fail spectacularly anyway. Also, a 12% chance that someone's lunch will spontaneously achieve sentience, but that's probably just a rounding error. Xyl-8's left eye started twitching. The Council has prepared 3 tasks to assess Earth's readiness for galactic membership. The first involves the construction of a simple space station. Oh, brilliant, Theo exclaimed, finally right side up again. I've always wanted to juggle in 0G, for science, of course. The second task will test your diplomatic capabilities. James perked up. Can we use quantum entanglement to make everyone agree? I've been working on this theory about consensus through synchronized particle states. And finally, there will be a crisis management scenario. Marina's probability calculators all beeped simultaneously. Fascinating. The chaos patterns suggest we'll either solve it brilliantly or accidentally create a new form of space jazz. The math is a bit fuzzy on which. I watched as Xyl-8's skin shifted to a color I'd never seen before, something between deeply concerned and considering early retirement. They pulled out what appeared to be the alien equivalent of a stress ball and squeezed it with all 4 hands. Ambassador Thompson, they said with forced calm, please tell me you have some sort of actual plan. I gave them my most reassuring smile, the one I usually reserved for when things were about to get spectacularly interesting. Of course we have a plan. We're going to do what humans do best, improvise creatively while maintaining plausible deniability. That's not a plan. That's barely even a concept. Ah, but it's a very human concept, I pointed out. And isn't understanding humanity what this assessment is all about? Behind me, Theo had started teaching Marina to juggle while James calculated the quantum states of the flying objects. Just another normal day representing Earth to the galaxy. Xyl-8 made a noise that sounded like a printer having an existential crisis. The first task begins tomorrow at 0800 Galactic Standard Time. Please try not to permanently alter any laws of physics before then. No promises, James called out cheerfully. The laws of physics have been getting a bit uppity lately. They could use a good shake-up. As Xyl-8 fled the room, their skin now a previously undocumented shade of distress, I couldn't help but feel a bit proud. We hadn't even started the actual tasks yet, and we'd already managed to introduce chaos into the galaxy's most organized bureaucracy. Tomorrow was going to be interesting. And in my experience, interesting is just another word for hold my coffee and watch this. The next morning, we gathered in what the Council called their simple construction demonstration arena, which was basically a massive zero-gravity chamber the size of 3 football fields. Xyl-8 had regained their professional blue-green composure, though I noticed they'd brought along several more stress balls. The task is straightforward, they explained, gesturing to the holographic blueprint hovering in the center of the chamber. Construct a standard Class C space station using the provided materials and tools. You have 6 hours. I looked at the standard tools devices that seemed better suited for performing surgery on a quantum computer than building a space station, and these are the only tools we can use. Correct. They are the most efficient implements for this task, carefully calibrated for precision, and Xyl-8 stopped mid-sentence, their skin rippling with concern. Why are you smiling like that, Ambassador? Oh, no reason, I said, watching as Theo unpacked what he called his emergency kit, which included, among other things, several cans of paint, a modified paintball gun, and enough duct tape to wrap around the moon. Just admiring your efficient implements. Marina was already running calculations on her devices. According to chaos theory, there's an 89% chance that conventional methods will take too long. Also, a 3% chance that the station will become sentient and apply for council membership, but that's probably just statistical noise. Probably. James had that look in his eyes, the one that usually preceded either a brilliant breakthrough or a small explosion. You know, if we consider the quantum superposition of construction materials. No, I said firmly. We are not putting the space station in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Just a little quantum uncertainty. No. Fine, he sighed. But I want it noted that we're missing a perfectly good opportunity to revolutionize construction physics. That's when Theo stepped forward, paintball gun in hand. Who's ready for some zero-G paintball propulsion? Sci-Fi's skin shifted to a worried purple. Zero-G what now? What followed was either the most brilliant or most horrifying display of human ingenuity in construction history, depending on who you ask. Theo used the paintball gun to propel himself around the chamber, positioning major structural components with the precision of a circus acrobat. Marina's chaos calculations helped predict the optimal paths for moving materials, even if some of her probability waves made the alien sensors short-circuit. "It's not stupid if it works" became our unofficial motto, especially after we discovered that duct tape holds up surprisingly well in zero gravity. The aliens watched in horror as we liberally applied what they called primitive adhesive strips to secure secondary systems. Ambassador Thompson Sci-Fi said weakly, watching as Theo performed a triple backflip while simultaneously welding two segments together. "This is not standard procedure." "Look at the bright side," I offered. "We're actually ahead of schedule." "That's not. You can't. Is Dr. Wilson quantumly entangling the waste disposal system?" "Only a little bit," James called out defensively. "And I'm pretty sure it will only create a minor temporal paradox. Minor-ish." The real breakthrough came when Marina discovered that by applying chaos theory to the station's assembly sequence, we could basically turn the construction into a giant game of cosmic Tetris. Pieces that should have taken hours to align precisely just sort of fell into place, guided by what she called the mathematical poetry of disorder. 4 hours later, we had a fully functional Class C space station floating in the chamber. Sure, one section was held together with enough duct tape to make a hardware store proud, and yes, the waste disposal system existed in a state of quantum uncertainty that made the alien sensors cry. But it worked. More than worked, it was actually more efficient than the standard design. Sci-Fi, their skin now a shade of gray, I'm pretty sure meant professional existential crisis ran their final scans. This is impressive," I suggested. "Horrifying," they corrected. "You violated 17 different construction protocols, used unauthorized tools, and somehow improved the base efficiency by 23%, they paused, consulting their datapad. "Also, the waste disposal system is somehow processing waste before it's even generated, which should be impossible." "Time is relative," James said with a shrug. "I just convinced it to be a bit more flexible about the whole cause and effect thing." "And the paint Sci-Fi?" asked weakly. Theo beamed. "Adds character. Also, the patterns help divert micrometeorites. Completely intentional feature, definitely not just because it looks cool." Marina's calculators beeped in agreement. "There's only a 0.01% chance of catastrophic failure now. Though there is a 15% chance the station will develop a sense of humor. But I think we can live with that." I patted Sci-Fi on one of their shoulders. "See? Nothing to worry about. One task down, 2 to go. What's the worst that could happen?" The entire chamber went silent again, except for the faint sound of quantum particles giggling from the waste disposal system. "Please," Sci-Fi whispered, clutching their stress balls tightly. "Please stop saying that." Looking at our paint-splattered, duct-taped, quantum-uncertain masterpiece, I had to admit we might have been taking this whole human ingenuity thing a bit far. But hey, at least we finished early. And if the station's waste disposal system occasionally processed garbage from parallel universes, well, that's just a bonus feature, right? After the space station incident, I thought Izziel-8's skin couldn't possibly display any new colors of distress. I was wrong. When they briefed us on the diplomatic task, they achieved a shade that I can only describe as anxiety incarnate. Your mission, they said, four hands simultaneously fidgeting with different stress balls, is to negotiate peace between the Vexnar and the Prolians. They've been at war for 3 centuries over certain cultural differences. What kind of cultural differences, I asked, already dreading the answer. The Vexnar believe that entertainment should be purely logical, focusing on mathematical proofs and quantum mechanics lectures. The Prolians believe entertainment should be entirely emotional, consisting of interpretive light wave dancing and crystalline poetry. James perked up. Mathematical proofs? Finally, some sensible entertainment. Light wave dancing, Theo grinned. Now that's my kind of party. Marina was already running probabilities. Interesting. There's a 45% chance of successful meditation, a 30% chance of accidental war escalation, and a 25% chance of… Wait, this can't be right, she frowned at her calculator. A 25% chance of everyone becoming obsessed with human entertainment. I had an idea. A terrible, wonderful, absolutely human idea. Sil 8, I said carefully. The mission parameters just specify that we need to get them to stop fighting, correct? Yes, but through proper diplomatic channels, and they stopped, their skin shifting to what I now recognized as the oh no, they're about to do something unprecedented color. What are you planning? Movie night. Come. The next day we gathered representatives from both species in what we dubbed the Intergalactic Cultural Exchange Theater. The Vexnar, who looked like geometric shapes wrapped in formal wear, sat on one side. The Prolians, who resembled Aurora Borealis in business suits, sat on the other. Welcome, I announced, to humanity's solution for bringing people together, entertainment that combines both logic and emotion. Impossible, declared the Vexnar representative. Entertainment must follow strict mathematical principles. Preposterous, argued the Prolian ambassador. True entertainment speaks to the soul. Ever heard of Christopher Nolan, I asked. What followed was a carefully curated marathon that Marina's chaos calculations suggested would have the highest probability of success. We started with Inception. The Vexnar were fascinated by the logical structure of dream levels, while the Prolians were moved by the emotional core of the story. But how can it be both, asked a confused Vexnar. That's the beauty of human entertainment, Theo explained. Juggling popcorn. We threw out the rule book so many times we forgot where we put it. James had prepared a quantum physics presentation about the scientific principles behind Back to the Future, which somehow turned into a 3-hour debate about the emotional impact of paradoxes on family dynamics. The real breakthrough came when someone I blamed, Theo, suggested showing them Dancing with the Stars. Look, I explained to the bewildered aliens, it combines mathematical precision and choreography with emotional expression through movement. Plus, sometimes people fall down. Like quantum particles, James added helpfully. They also fall down, sometimes. When you observe them, it's a whole thing. Marina's calculators were beeping excitedly. The probability matrices are stabilizing. Also, there's now a 60% chance of an intergalactic dance competition developing. But that might actually help diplomatic relations. The Vexnar and Prolians, who hadn't stopped fighting for 3 centuries, were now engaged in a heated discussion about whether the Matrix was primarily a mathematical exploration of simulation theory or an emotional journey of self-discovery. Can it not be both, suggested a young Prolian. There might be a mathematical formula for emotional resonance, mused a Vexnar elder. That's when Theo, because apparently we weren't causing enough chaos, introduced them to karaoke. Ambassador Thompson, Sil 8, said faintly, watching as a group of Vexnar attempted to calculate the optimal mathematical rhythm for Don't Stop Believin', while Prolians added interpretive light wave dancing to the background. This is not standard diplomatic procedure. No, I agreed, but look, they're not fighting anymore. They're too busy arguing about whether Broadway musicals represent the perfect fusion of mathematical structure and emotional expression. We're going to end up with an intergalactic entertainment industry, aren't we? Marina checked her calculations. 97% probability. Also, there's now a 3% chance of a reality show called Dancing with the Stars Quantum Edition, but James promises he won't quantum entangle the dance floor this time. Much, James added under his breath. By the end of the week, the Vexnar and Prolians had not only signed a peace treaty but had also jointly established the first intergalactic film festival and cultural exchange program. The premiere event would feature a mathematical analysis of emotional storytelling, accompanied by quantum-harmonized interpretive dance. Task completed, I reported cheerfully to the council. Peace achieved through cultural understanding and the universal human tradition of binge watching. This is not what we meant by diplomatic relations, Xylate muttered, their skin cycling through colors faster than a mood ring in a tornado. But it worked, I pointed out. And nobody got quantum entangled this time. Well, except for that one karaoke machine, but James swears the temporal echoes will sort themselves out eventually. As we left the newly established intergalactic entertainment complex, I could hear the sounds of geometric shapes and living light shows enthusiastically debating the merits of various human media genres. They had moved on from their war to argue about something far more important, whether sci-fi or romantic comedies better represented the duality of logical and emotional storytelling. Just one more task to go, I said brightly. What's the worst that could happen? The karaoke machine, still slightly quantum entangled, played a dramatic chord from 3 different timelines simultaneously. Xylate just sighed, reached for another stress ball, and wondered aloud if it was too late to request a transfer to a nice, quiet black hole monitoring station. The final task began with an alarm that sounded like a kazoo having an argument with a dial-up modem. I was in the middle of explaining to the Galactic Council why Earth's internet was 90% pictures of cats when the emergency signal blared through the chamber. This is not a drill, Xylate announced, their skin a professional shade of emergency purple. A rogue asteroid has been detected on a collision course with the colony world of New Zenith. You have approximately 6 hours to prevent catastrophic impact. Finally, James said, a simple problem with a simple solution: explosions. Xylate's skin flickered. Absolutely not. The Council has established procedures for such events. First, we'll need to file an emergency response form 27,000,006, followed by. The asteroid will hit in 6 hours, I pointed out. Yes. And after we process the preliminary paperwork. 6 hours. Marina's calculators were already running hot. According to my models, there's a 100% chance that bureaucracy will get us all killed. Also, a 15% chance that the asteroid is secretly a space whale, but I'm pretty sure that's just my calculator being dramatic. Theo was digging through his emergency kit again. I don't suppose anyone wants to try hitting it with a really big stick. Actually, James said, getting that look again, I have an idea. Remember how we used paintball guns for space station construction? I felt a headache coming on. We are not going to shoot paintballs at an asteroid. Of course not, he scoffed. We're going to play billiards. With nuclear devices. The entire council chamber went silent. Even the sentient clouds stopped doing whatever sentient clouds do when they're worried. Think about it, James continued, warming to his topic. We can't destroy the asteroid, it's too big. But we don't need to. We just need to nudge it off course. Like a cosmic game of pool. Marina's calculators beeped enthusiastically. The chaos mathematics support this plan. If we place the charges correctly, we can use the asteroid's own momentum to guide it away from New Zenith. Also, there's now a 2% chance of inventing a new sport, but that's probably just a rounding error. Absolutely not, Xylate declared, their skin now cycling through colors faster than a disco light. The proper procedure. Will take too long, I finished. Look, humans have been playing pool for centuries. It's practically in our DNA. Plus, James here once won the MIT Physics Department's annual pool tournament, 3 years running. Only because I calculated the quantum trajectories, James muttered. That was cheating, Theo asked, impressed. No, just thorough planning. What followed was either the most impressive or most terrifying display of applied physics in galactic history. Using a combination of Marina's chaos calculations, James's quantum trajectory mapping, and Theo's inexplicable ability to visualize complex three-dimensional movement, apparently circus work transfers well to celestial mechanics, we plotted out our shots. The Council watched in horror as we essentially turned their solar system into the universe's largest pool table. Nuclear devices were strategically placed not to destroy the asteroid, but to relatively gently nudge it in specific directions. Bank shot off the smaller asteroid, James called out, his quantum calculations projecting possible paths. English on the nuclear blast, Theo suggested, using terms that made the alien translators give up entirely. Marina's probability matrices were practically singing. If we time this right, we can use the gravitational slingshot effect of that gas giant for extra spin. This is unprecedented, Xylate moaned, clutching their collection of stress balls like a security blanket. There are no forms for this, no procedures, no protocols. Welcome to human crisis management, I said cheerfully. Sometimes you just have to improvise. The first nuclear device detonated exactly where James calculated, sending the asteroid on a new trajectory. The second blast adjusted its spin, while the third used the combined gravitational forces of nearby celestial bodies to curve its path away from new zenith. 3 hours later, the asteroid safely passed the colony world, continuing on a new path that Marina assured us had only a 0.01% chance of causing problems in the next century. Though there is a 5% chance it'll come back wanting to play another round, she added, frowning at her calculations. You used nuclear devices to play pool, Sci-Fi said weakly, with an asteroid. And it worked, Theo pointed out. That's not. You can't. Do you realize you've just invented an entirely new field of celestial crisis management? James perked up. Does this mean I can write a paper on quantum astronomical billiards? I've already got a title. English in the time of Einstein applied pool physics in space. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Half the members were demanding we be banned from handling any future crises, while the other half were quietly asking for copies of our calculations. The sentient cloud seemed to be trying to reproduce our trajectory calculations using interpretive dance. Well, I said brightly, I guess that concludes our assessment tasks. What's the... Do not. Xyle-8 interrupted, their skin a color that suggested their stress balls were no longer providing adequate stress relief. Finish that sentence. Somewhere in the background, Marina's calculator beeped one last time. Update: 100% chance that no one will ever ask humans to handle things the normal way again. Also, that 5% chance of the asteroid wanting a rematch? Now it's 10%. James brightened. Rematch. No, shouted every alien in the chamber simultaneously. The final council meeting to review Earth's assessment was held in a room that had been specifically reinforced to handle any potential quantum accidents. They also installed what I'm pretty sure was the alien equivalent of a sprinkler system, though I'm not sure what they thought they'd need to put out. Commissioner Trellvix's antennae were twitching so fast they were practically blur. We are gathered here today to discuss the unique results of Earth's assessment period. Xyle-8, now permanently carrying a bag of stress balls, pulled up their final report. Their skin had settled into a new baseline color that the medical staff had termed permanent procedural distress. In the construction task they began, the humans completed a fully functional Class C space station using unauthorized tools, including but not limited to paintball guns, duct tape, and what they called the power of interpretive physics. The station works better than the standard design, James pointed out helpfully. The quantum entangled waste disposal system is now processing garbage from 3 different parallel universes, which technically makes it 3 times more efficient. Moving on, Xyle-8 continued desperately. In the diplomatic task, they resolved a 3-century conflict by introducing both species to human entertainment, resulting in the creation of an intergalactic cultural exchange program and something called Quantum Broadway. The Vex-Nar and Prolians are collaborating on a mathematical musical about the emotional journey of a quantum particle, Theo explained. I'm choreographing the uncertainty principle dance number. And finally, Xyle-8's voice took on a slightly hysterical edge. They prevented an asteroid collision by turning the entire star system into a game of nuclear pool. Marina's calculator beeped. The asteroid has officially requested a rematch, by the way. It sent the message in gravitational waves. Also, 3 other asteroids want to join the tournament. Absolutely not, Trellvix declared. We are not starting an intergalactic astronomical pool league. Too late, James said cheerfully. I've already got sponsors. Turns out a lot of species are interested in combining celestial mechanics with recreational mathematics. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Arguments broke out in 17 different languages, 2 of which hadn't existed before our assessment period. The sentient cloud was now trying to demonstrate proper pool stance to a group of crystalline entities. Order, Trellvix called out, their mandibles clicking rapidly. We must decide on Earth's membership status. Xyle-8 consulted their notes. Technically, they completed all tasks successfully. The space station works, the war is over, and New Zenith was saved. However, their methods were unprecedented. That's a polite way of putting it, someone muttered from the back. Therefore, Trellvix announced, we have decided to grant Earth provisional membership in the Galactic Council, with certain conditions. They projected a list of new regulations that scrolled for what seemed like several minutes. I caught phrases like mandatory safety protocols for quantum entertainment, strict regulations on recreational celestial mechanics, and absolutely no unauthorized use of duct tape in space. We're also adding several new emergency procedures, Xylate added, specifically categorized under in case of humans. Does this mean we're in? I asked. Yes, Trelvik sighed, but with asterisks. Many, many asterisks. And a new galactic law, Xylate added. No one is ever to ask humans what's the worst that could happen. It has been classified as a Class 3 cultural hazard. 6 months later, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. The Quantum Astronomical Pool League was preparing for its first championship tournament. The space station's quantum waste disposal system had somehow developed a sense of humor and was now charging admission to watch it process garbage from parallel universes. The Vexnar and Prolian production of Schrödinger's Cats, a mathematical musical about quantum superposition and emotional uncertainty, was selling out across 3 sectors. Xylate, after taking up meditation and what they called emergency vacation, had actually started to develop a sense of humor. Their skin still changed color whenever someone mentioned duct tape, but their stress ball collection had decreased by 30%. As for my team, well, Marina's chaos calculations were now required reading at the Galactic Academy. Theo had started a consulting business teaching creative problem-solving for cosmic disasters, and James was busy trying to convince the council to let him organize the first Quantum Olympics. You know, I said during one council meeting, watching as a group of aliens debated the proper mathematical formula for scoring artistic impression in gravitational wave surfing, I think we've had a pretty positive influence on galactic society. That, Trelvix replied, their antenna twitching slightly. Depends entirely on your definition of positive. At least things aren't boring anymore, I offered. The entire chamber froze. Ambassador Thompson, Xylate said weakly, reaching for their emergency stress ball. Please don't. After all, what's the worst that could happen? The quantum waste disposal system chose that exact moment to burp out a parallel universe's worth of confetti, and somewhere in the distance we could hear the faint sound of an asteroid practicing its bank shots. Just another normal day in human-influenced galactic society.